Well, Darren, thank you very much for joining me once again on game day. Paul Cook's first home game in charge is ended in a 1-1 draw with Lincoln City here at Portman Road. Your thoughts on that result? Good point.
It's a good point. At this point, we just got to keep picking up points, keep moving forward. I would have bit your hand off for a 1-1 draw, halfway through the first half because, again, we'd kind of start slow. They're pretty neat and tidy, and they get their goal. Great finish from the guy, but whether people noticed or not, Lancaster and Edwards had swapped wings from a corner, and then we get a throw in, and maybe sort of Lancaster showing a bit of naivety. We get the throw, and he just starts running across to the left, leaves his position on the right. Edwards hasn't moved. And then, they spot that, pass out to the left, and they got loads of space. But obviously a great finish from the guy for 1-0. And, I'm sure Paul Cook will see a game that we've all been watching most of the season where it's not too much going on, not too much opportunities created. Got better as the first half went on. I thought it was interesting that the lineup had no lone players in it. I don't know what that kind of says, but it was good to see Lancaster and everyone back. I think everyone's been calling for Bennett and perhaps Parrott to be dropped. But yeah, so the second half, I was thinking, okay, Paul Cook's going to get into them now. Let's go. But it was all just very nice. It was all just like an under-23 games, just lots of passing, but there was no urgency. There was no, late challenges. It was all just, I was looking at my son just like this is just going to peter out. This is just going to fizzle out this game. And, we're not going to really lay a glove on them. But obviously Paul Cook's made some positive substitutions. Good to see Alan Judge back. I think he certainly made a difference with that, getting some urgency in, and not everything he tried came off. Bennett's, again, pretty useless. Parrott, I've actually changed my mind about Parrott. But because I thought he was getting better and better, but he's clearly a player that isn't a super sub because he didn't really do a lot when he came on. But up steps our boy James Wilson again. It was another goal from a set piece. I mean, I don't know what's happened in the last few weeks, but I don't know who was it Toto or no, Chambers at the far post heads it back. And there's Wilson on the spot. So, good goal. And then I think from that point onwards, Lincoln seemed quite happy just to sit in. Apart from the scary moment where Toto, 2 mistakes a game. I mean, to be fair to him, it wasn't a great pass to him from Judge, a bit of a loopy thing. And he tries to control it like he's Lionel Messi, which didn't come off. A great save by Holy. And then 5 minutes later, you see Toto doing what we love about Toto, where, they break and he blocks it. So all in all, let's stay positive. We've got a point. We're unbeaten at home under Paul Cook. He's seen a bit more of the team. He can make some more decisions ahead of another game on Saturday. So, that's just no moaning. It's all good.
Well, Alex, thank you very much for joining me on game day. And it's a point for Town tonight. Paul Cook's first home game in charge against Lincoln. James Wilson popping up to get the equaliser. Your thoughts on that draw?
Yeah, well, I think you've got to take the positives in that, Lincoln are a top side. Not that means they're any good because it's League One, but we have come back and we've got a point against a very good team. So you take that. I think Cookie's going to look at it now and he's assessing things. He probably thought he had more at his disposal with that good run that we were on. And now he's beginning to realise what actually is going on. We did well to come back, but we did not. We're just not creating very much. And for me, a lot of it is about the movement. That the movement is just not there. Once Dizelle is guilty of it, Bishop not so much, but they get the ball, they pass it, and then they wait, and then we stop. But to me, the main issue, the number one thing is Enciala and coming out from the back with Enciala. All through the game, he was getting the ball and he was sitting there and just standing there with the ball, looking around with the The fullbacks are scared of running away from him, so they stay close. If someone comes close, a defender came with him or a midfielder came with Downs or Bishop to get the ball, so there was pressure. You don't see it happen with other centre-halves in any game, where a defender is just standing around, not knowing what to do with the ball. It's so slow, and I think it starts at the back. Overall, I think Lincoln definitely missed a trick. We were there for the taking for Lincoln. They looked excellent in the first 25 minutes. Then we got a little bit back into it. And then the second half, I don't know what they were doing. I don't know why they didn't push on. I like Bennett's. I like what he does. At least he takes a man on. You need someone to take a man on and go past the guy. And it just doesn't happen enough. And we're not getting behind their back four. We didn't get behind them until the second half, late in the second half. They could be tired. I know there are tiring legs out there. But this whole thing about sitting at the back four with it going to Enciala and he's just standing there. Maybe it's a change of system. I mean, Cook will have his ideas now. Maybe it's a 3 and then you push your fullbacks on to spread it out a little bit because we were too deep on the weekend against Gillingham, way too deep. But I honestly believe that is the huge problem, that we move ponderously because it starts at the back with Enciala. And we just play it into dangerous areas. It comes back, and then that cock-up with Enciala was just as expected. I mean, he was due one. And although he did that fantastic block, he was the one that nearly gave away the goal. So you have to work out what you're going to do with Enciala. If he plays, because he is excellent in the air, and he does good blocks, maybe stick him in the middle and don't give him the ball. Stick someone on the right of him, Wilson on the left, and have that protect Enciala, because once it goes out to him, everything stops and everything is in front of the opposition and they can defend it easily. I like Judge when he came on. I like Bennett's. I think he's got good technique about him. I think we can get more out of him. Norwood was nowhere. Dizelle for me was disappointing. He does a few tricks, doesn't he? He looks good and then seems to play the safe option. But a lot of the time we're passing the ball and then stopping and not moving and not looking for the next passage of play. At least Alan Judge, when he came on, he did that. So lots to work on with Cookie. He's seen everybody now virtually, 2 games. It'll take him a little bit of time, but I'm sure he'll have ideas. This league is so poor. It's so poor that we just got a point against supposedly one of the strongest teams in the division. And let's hope Cookie can set us up correctly, move things a bit quicker with the ball. But you do think there's a mistake in us, don't you? We just look like we're going to give the ball away in crucial areas. It just feels like it's there. And I think that comes to how slowly we play the ball. But I have faith in Cook. He seems like a good man. So, it's the hope that kills you.
Well, Brad, thank you very much for joining me once again on game day. And it's a draw against Lincoln. Your thoughts? A good point at home.
A good point in the grand scheme of things, result-wise. But I'd just like to put a personal thanks to Mike Lapperton for allowing us to have that point. I feel like we were there for the taking in the first half. Very lucky not to give him 1-0, only 1-0 down. And in the second half, we got back into it through another set-piece goal. But we just could not create anything on the floor, can we? We're just utterly useless at it. When you watch them, they're all so static. There's no movement there. It's got to be a Cook instruction. I don't want to throw blame on Cook already. It's only his second game. But Bennett's is hugging the touchline. Judge was moving around. But before that, the wingers are hugging the touchline. They're never anywhere close to Norwood. You watch Lincoln. Rogers and Johnson are right on Hopper, allowing their fullbacks to rampage up and down all game. That's how you create space in them wide areas. We don't know how to create space. We haven't done all season. And he can't persist with trying to play football in this league with this current squad, because they've been coached this way for so long. You can't then go back to that now, because the success we were having was with direct football into Norwood early, into Parrott early. That's got to be the way we've got to go about it, because if you suddenly start trying to turn water into wine, that's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. Lincoln, yeah, I mean, they are a good side. I tell you what, they're probably where we want to get to in a few months' time, but the way that they play. But you've got to just throw the possession game in the bin and just get it into Norwood's feet early, Parrott's feet early, word off them. And because there's nobody ever anywhere near the ball half the time, is there? The ball will come into someone and he's only got one option. And then that option that he takes on will have to be a perfect pass or an inch perfect. Like, you look at Lincoln, they have 3 or 4 options anytime somebody gets the ball. And it's just, But you can't continue to do that. Just trying to play like perfect, like it's into him and it's going up like it's. Nobody's ever close to each other or anywhere near each other, and you can't continue to play that. You've got to get bodies around Norwood, bodies around Parrott, whoever's playing up there. I think Jackson looked lively again, even though he had 3 minutes. But just try and create a bit of just a bit of I don't know, just chaos in the box. Because how many balls went in that box tonight against Lincoln? How many times did we actually get near the 18-yard box? The game was, I say, once we got back to 1-1, that's then there for the taking to go on and win it. But you got Enciala dribbling out. I'm actually walking here because that was what he was walking out with the ball at the back. You got other players there just walking with the ball. There's no urgency. And Kirk, I could hear him, was going mad on the sidelines. And it's just a team which looks so tired and so lethargic. Just go back to what Matt Gill was doing, seriously. I mean, yeah, we weren't even that good in those games, but at least we had a game plan and we just thought, right, we can't play football, get it into those guys early. So just do it, because what we're trying to do now is make the pitch as massive as possible. And by doing that, nobody is close to each other, anywhere near each other to receive the ball. And that's just crap. So you do another big game Saturday. Plymouth, like we were just saying, are a decent little side. They're a funny side, so you can't just rock up and think we're going to win there. I was just watching Portsmouth. They're losing again tonight. Massive chance doing the top 6 on Saturday. I think we can forget about top 2. We're not going to get in the top 2. But massive chance to get into the playoffs on Saturday. And just go a bit more basic, because we can't continue with what we're trying to do.
Well, Segs, thanks for joining me once again on game day. And it's a draw for Paul Cook's first home game in charge against Lincoln. 1-1, James Wilson scoring an equaliser. I'm going to do that fucking again. That was terrible. Okay. Well, Stegs, thanks for joining me once again on game day. And it's a draw here, 1-1 against Lincoln City in Paul Cook's first home game in charge here at Portman Road. Your thoughts as ever, my friend?
Yeah, I'm glad it's not a loss. I mean, Paul Cook was saying before the game, obviously, that he wanted to make this a fortress at Portman Road. So to not lose is a big thing for us. Bit gutted in terms of the performance. I mean, it wasn't that great. Bit slow, bit sluggish. I think at times we just kind of reminded us of the times early on in the season where we were just going for promotion. So I still feel like we're playing with the fact that Paul Cook hasn't really put a stamp on his side yet, but he's only had a week there, so it's not gonna happen overnight. I understand that, and I do have faith in him that he's going to get it right. Unlike Lambert, who it was never going to happen. So there's that. Obviously, a point against Lincoln is a decent result, though, to be fair. I mean, it's a point against the top 3 side. We're now a point and a game in hand on 6th, which it's crazy to think how 2 weeks ago we probably never imagined how close we would be to playoffs. So in that sense, we're still in the running. It's a point is better than no points. We stuck at it. I felt like the goal was for Lincoln was poor. We just let them have so much time and just they've scored. And I'd like to see Holy do something. I mean, every time an opposition scored against us, he just doesn't seem to. I don't want to say he doesn't bother, but he just kind of just lets it slide in. Just go for it, do something, at least make an effort. I'm not sure. Maybe Wilson got a deflection on that, but even so, it is what it is. It was just a poor goal to concede. We didn't really come back all guns blazing, but then Wilson second half, fair play to him. We need Smith and Barry. Good assist from Chambers, to be fair to him. And yeah, it's brought it back 1-1. We've got the point. Like I said, this game we're a point off 6th. So yeah, and also just in terms of Bennett's, I don't see anything in him. Send him back. He's absolutely rubbish. I don't rate him at all. He seems to do these step overs and then there's no idea. It just reminds me of we've had players like that in the past, and there just seems to be no ideas from him. He's got all the fancy stuff behind him, and then it just nothing happens, and it's not good enough. I understand why he brought him on to change things, and to be fair to Cook, once again he has brought on 3 subs at once to try and change it. We've got a goal from it, and hopefully it is gonna start working for us. But yeah, we move on. Plymouth on Saturday. and fingers crossed we do better.